The Mirror House. On the night of a rare lunar eclipse, a young woman enters an abandoned house said to be cursed by mirrors that never reflect what stands before them. The townsfolk always warned, "Don't look too long." The House Looks Back, Part 1, The Arrival. The town of Elmridge was the kind of place stories clung to like vines on stone. Tucked between rolling hills and crooked woods, it had its share of legends, but none more persistent than the one about the Holloway House. The Holloway estate sat at the edge of town, shrouded by twisted oaks, its windows blind with dust. The house had stood abandoned for 80 years. Its last inhabitants, the Holloway family, vanished without explanation one winter night in 1943. The only signs left behind were shattered mirrors in every room, their glass webbed and jagged as though something had tried to claw its way out. No one dared go near it since. Kids would double-dog dare each other to knock on its rotten door, but no one ever stepped inside. Not until Mara. Mara Calder had just moved to Elmridge. She wasn't a believer in small-town superstitions. A graduate student studying folklore, she came seeking fieldwork material for her thesis, Haunted Architecture and Urban Myth. For her, the Holloway House wasn't a tomb of curses, but a gold mine of storytelling. Her first night in town at the local diner, she asked about it casually. "You mean the Mirror House?" one of the waitresses gasped. "Don't go there." Not on the eclipse night, Mara smiled politely, jotting notes. A house of mirrors and missing people. Perfect. 2 nights later, on the eve of the lunar eclipse, she walked up the road that wound to Holloway House with a backpack, a lantern, and her recorder. Part 2. First Reflections. The Holloway House loomed like a dark carcass of wood and stone. The air reeked of rot and damp earth. Mara unlatched the groaning front doors and stepped inside, her boots crunching on shattered glass. Her lantern cut through shadows, revealing warped wallpaper, collapsed furniture, and the smell of mildew thick as cloth. Broken mirrors lined the corridor walls, their shards catching the light. Yet, what unsettled her immediately was this. Not every mirror was broken. Some stood whole and uncracked, glistening as if polished yesterday. She aimed her lantern at one of them. Her reflection did not move. Mara froze. She lifted her hand. Her reflection stared back, hand still at her side. Only 2 seconds later, it mimicked her. A delayed image. She whispered into her recorder. Reflection lag. Possibly neurological trick under stress, but her chest prickled unease. She pressed deeper. Part 3. The rooms of glass. The house twisted like a labyrinth. Every room bore at least one mirror. Some were freestanding, others bolted into mantels. In the dining room, a full-length standing mirror loomed in the corner. The air grew colder here. Her reflection no longer matched her at all. It was smiling. Mara's breath hitched. She pulled the lantern closer. The double grinned wider, showing teeth too sharp. Her own lips hadn't moved. The smile turned into a word mouthed silently. "Stay." She stumbled back, nearly toppling a chair. She blinked, heart pounding, and now the reflection matched her again. Blank, nervous, wide-eyed. Hallucination, she told herself. Power of suggestion. Folklore working on her mind. She kept recording, but her voice trembled. Part 4. The Journal. In the Holloway Library, among dust-choked books, Mara found an object more chilling than the mirrors. A leather-bound journal. The entries belonged to Richard Holloway, the father. His writing rambled about the mirrors, whispering, each reflection showing an other family. A darker version, trying to claw their way into his world. "The glass is thinning," he scribbled. "They don't mimic anymore. They wait, watching, hungry." The last entry stopped mid-sentence. "They are here." Margaret's reflection. The page had been slashed with something sharp. Mara snapped the book shut, hands trembling, when she caught something in the corner of her eye. She turned. In the mirror across the library, her reflection was no longer alone. A small child stood beside it, pale, hollow-eyed. There was no child in the room. Part 5. The Descent. The deeper Mara explored, the more fractured her sense of reality became. Hallways repeated, doors opened to where she had just been. But the mirrors always shifted. Reflections changed. Sometimes she was older, sometimes younger, sometimes bloodied. Once her reflection wasn't her at all. It was a man missing half his face, smiling through torn lips. Her voice recordings captured faint whispers that hadn't sounded in the air. She replayed them. "Stay. Don't leave us. The glass must feed." Her rational mind faltered. Logic eroded. She just wanted out. But when she tried to leave, the front door's mirror reflected her, walking away from the exit. She pulled the door open. Outside was only another hallway of mirrors. Part 6. The Eclipse. The night sky outside turned black as the moon fell into shadow. In the mirrors, the glow sharpened. The reflections became independent movements, no longer bound by her actions. They pressed hands against the glass. Their mouths opened as one. From the dining room mirror, her reflection stepped forward. The sound was like shattering ice. Her double, smiling that too wide grin, walked into the room. Behind it, others stirred. Children, women, faceless men, all stepping out of glass, dripping silver dust. They circled. Her rationality broke. She screamed and ran, but everywhere was glass. Too many doubles, too many selves. They whispered in unison, "One must stay." The balance, 1 for 1, Part 7. The climax. Mara stumbled into the ballroom, lantern shaking. Every wall was mirror. Her reflection multiplied infinite, but only one. Their leader moved differently. The smiling version. It held the journal, her journal. "You took our words," it said in syllables that cracked like splitting glass. "Now you are ours." The mirrors began convulsing like water, silver rippling. From them poured hands, cold, grasping. They pulled Mara toward the glass surface like quicksand. She kicked, screamed, clawed. Her lantern smashed, sparking fire for a heartbeat before extinguishing. The last thing she saw was herself in the mirror, screaming silently before hands yanked her through. Part 8. The Ending. Morning came. Townsfolk said the eclipse was beautiful. At Holloway House, everything was silent. Dust lay untouched. Lantern shards glittered. The front door was ajar. Only one thing was new. In the grand hallway mirror, Mara Calder stood, not moving, eyes wide, her hands pressed against the glass, mouth open in a scream. But no sound escaped. She was caught on the wrong side. If you stood there long enough, you might swear her hand twitched. You might see her banging at the glass. You might even imagine her mouthing 2 words again and again. "Let me." But no one goes near Holloway House anymore. The townsfolk whisper one new warning. Don't look too long. The house looks back.